Hey everybody, it's Damien from Guitar Journey here, and today we're going to work on a really cool ear training and soloing improvisation exercise. You know, I really believe that one of the best ways to get better with your guitar leads, better with your guitar solos, is by improving your ear. To me, and I've said this many times before, when we get past all the analysis, all the music theory and so forth, ultimately what we want to be doing in any solo is asking ourselves this question. We want to be asking, where does this note that I'm on, where does this melody that I'm developing want to go in light of the chords that are being played and in light of the chords that are about to be played? And I think this is a much better approach than those almost, mathematical kind of formulas like, always try to land on the third of the chord or whatever. I've actually had somebody say to me, oh yeah, I always try to slide into the root of the one chord. That's great, it's fine, it's definitely not wrong, but I think it's very limiting, and honestly for a lot of people it's actually quite difficult to apply. Ultimately, to really flow with our solos, to really be in the zone, in the moment, we need to be actively listening. Today's exercise is going to help you with that, so let's get right to it, okay? We're going to practice today's exercise in the key of A minor, okay? I like to do my examples in the key of A minor because it's a very easy key. In A minor, there are no sharped notes, there are no flatted notes. Our notes are just A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 7 notes, of course, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And by the way, for anybody who's wondering, I'm talking about A natural minor, A Aeolian, we might call it. So I'm not talking about A harmonic minor, I'm not talking about A Dorian, nothing like that. Just regular A natural minor, A Aeolian, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay? I'm going to use this A minor scale right here in 5th position, okay? 5th position. Okay, just like that. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to play an incredibly simple basic solo, an incredibly basic, sparse, you might say, solo over a backing track, okay? Now the backing track is going to consist of the chords A minor, D minor, and G major. A minor, D minor, G major. And the way the backing track is structured, we're going to have 4 measures of A minor, 4 measures of D minor, 4 measures of G major, and then to kind of round things out, we're going to have 2 more measures of A minor and 2 more measures of G major. And that's going to be a total of 16 measures. Why did I choose these specific chords, A minor, D minor, G major? The answer is this. Remember, we're in the key of A minor. And in the key of A minor, remember, our notes are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And if we look at the basic A minor chord, okay, what's called an A minor triad, okay? The word triad implies there are 3 different notes that make up an A minor chord, and those notes are A, C, and E. Now, a G major triad has 3 notes, and those are G, B, and D. And finally, a D minor triad has 3 notes of D, F, and A. So when we think about all 3 chords kind of working together, we'll see that with those 3 chords, every note in the key of A minor, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, every note in the key of A minor can be found in at least one of those chords. For example, if you play a C note, you're going to find it inside an A minor chord. Remember, A minor is A, C, and E. If you're playing an F note, you're going to find it inside the D minor chord. Remember, it's D minor is D, F, A. If you're playing a G note, well, of course, pardon me, you're going to find it inside that G major chord. Remember, G major is G, B, and D, okay? So again, every note in the key of A minor can be found in at least one of our 3 chords that we're using to solo over today. Now, like I said earlier, for the first 12 measures, we're hanging on the A minor chord for 4 measures, then the D minor chord for 4 measures, then the G major chord for 4 measures. And the reason we're holding on to each chord for so long, 4 measures each, for the first 3 chords in those 12 measures, is that as I'm doing my incredibly easy, incredibly basic guitar solo, I'm really not trying to do a great lead. What I'm really looking to do is actively listen to each note as it sounds over a given chord. So I'm going to play very slowly, mostly whole notes and half notes. Remember, whole note gets 4 beats, half note gets 2 beats. And I'm going to be playing mostly whole notes and half notes, playing very slowly so that I really can listen to a given chord and how, to a given note and how it relates to the chord that's being played in that moment. And as I do this, I'm just kind of asking myself in a very non-analytical kind of way, whether I like the sound of that note over that particular chord. And you may, as you do this, you may find yourself noticing that certain notes over a given chord might sound really nice, really sweet, really comfortable, however you want to put it. And you might notice that other notes over the same chord might sound kind of tense, like you don't want to hang out on that note for too long. You want to go somewhere else. Really listen for each note as it relates to the chord. Listen for whether it sounds sweet or comfortable, however you want to put it, or whether it seems kind of tense, like you want to move on. And I want to be very clear about this. I'm intentionally avoiding using words like good or bad or dissonant or anything like that. Because the truth is, a fair amount of this is kind of subjective. I might like a note over a given chord that somebody else doesn't like, and vice versa. Just as an example, for those of you who are comfortable with how given notes of a scale function over a given chords, I really enjoy the sound of a 7th or a 9th over a chord. Somebody else might say, no, that I don't like that. That's uncomfortable for me. It's too tense, whatever. And then a third person might come along and say, actually, it sounds perfectly comfortable, but actually it's kind of dull. You really ought to be playing more 11s and 13s. And that's fine too. So again, a fair part of this is subjective, and that's what's beautiful about this exercise. You're going to find what sounds good, what sounds pleasing, whatever, however you want to characterize it, to you. We're not using some mathematical formula that says you always should land on the 3rd of the chord, or that you should always use a note from the basic triad or whatever. Like I say, those approaches aren't wrong, but they are kind of limiting. And in a lot of circumstances, for a lot of people, they're somewhat difficult to apply. Using your ear, in my opinion, is a much more natural function for us as musicians and guitarists. So right now, I'm going to play over our backing track, and I'm going to use my A minor scale. And as I play, I'm just going to listen. I'm going to listen to the different notes that I play, and as they relate to the chord that is being played underneath. And again, I'm going to ask myself, do I like the sound of this note over this chord? Is it pleasant? Is it comfortable? Is it sweet? Whatever. Or is it kind of tense, and I feel like I should move on? Now, very quick aside before I demonstrate. Please don't think of tension as a bad thing. It's not. Tension is actually necessary to create a sense of motion, a sense of drama in music. It's not remotely a bad thing. It's just that often, maybe not always, but often, when we create tension, we want to resolve that tension by going from the tense note to a more comfortable note. And in order to do that effectively, we need to be very good at listening. So here I go, playing over the jam track. Again, I'm not trying to do the world's greatest guitar solo. In fact, I'm not even trying to do a good solo or even a decent solo. I'm just trying to listen to the sound of each note as it relates to the given chord that's being played. Okay, so what did you think? I'd say that some notes sounded better in some circumstances than others did. But again, the point of this is not to say that, a note is good or bad. It's more to give you, as an individual guitarist, a sense of the sound that you prefer to create. What is beautiful to you? I want you to practice this. And so to help you practice it, at the end of this video today, I'm actually going to tag the jam track onto the end of the video. Okay, the jam track that I just played over, I'm going to tag it onto the end of the video so that you can practice playing over it as well. And as you do, really listen to how each note you play, how it relates to the given chord. I promise you, if you do this, you will find yourself playing more melodic solos. You'll find yourself not having to rely on formulas, but rather you'll be truly playing in an expressive, spontaneous manner. Your overall sense of musical flow will be much greater. This is really worth working on. So again, I'm putting the jam track at the conclusion of the video so you can get some real solid practice in. That's what I have for you today, okay? So as always, please hit the subscribe button, okay? Please hit subscribe. There is a ton of content here on the Guitar Journey channel, and there is more content coming all the time. Lessons, jam tracks, discussions of so many different aspects of this amazing guitar journey. And honestly, I would love to have you along for the journey. And also, please leave me a comment. I always say we're building a community here. And even if you disagree with me on something, or if you feel like I've left something out, leave a comment so that we can all learn from each other and enrich each other's guitar journeys, okay? Thanks so much. Have a great day.